And before we even start, I just want to give Chris here the comment of the night already. Just right out the gate, Luke was savage, like sending a Tinder date home in an Uber. Anyways, I'm Jason Ward from MakingStarWars.net. And today we're talking about the final episode of the Book of Boba Fett, directed by Robert Rodriguez in his sleep. And I'm joined by James and Rob and Max, and we may have some more friends tonight. But I think most everyone is just trying to get through the last part of the episode still, maybe. So, but let's start with Max tonight. Max, what'd you think? Oh, we can't hear you, Max. See, Max, I tried to go to you first for the first time, Max, for the first time, and then I can't hear you. But what Max is saying is, I loved it so much. It was quite a tour de force. Some people call it Star Wars. I call it Star Excellence. A++. A plus eBayer. Fast shipping. Would buy from again.
Yeah.
All right.
Blink twice if you liked it.
Nope. James, what did you think, man?
Yeah, it was horseshit. This show never should have happened. I love everything about the show that had nothing to do with Book of Boba Fett. And anything that did could have just been thrown in the trash. I mean, literally, like, had they just done the Mando season 3 stuff, and they could have added this stuff in and just been like, oh, you know, Boba's on Tatooine, he's dealing with some shit, and kind of cut into that. But to do a whole show of this, yeah, complete waste of time.
Yeah. And Rob, you loved it, you said?
Man, I gave it a 6. I was wrong. This shit's a fucking... I mean, this is embarrassing. This is the worst. It's some of the worst Star Wars outside of the holiday special I've ever seen. It's embarrassing. Everyone who was involved in this, right? And working professionals, right? The creators, the people in charge, the Rodriguez, the Favreau, they should take a big fucking L. You know what I mean? And go rethink their life a little bit. Like this, because honestly, if fans give this a pass, you're in for a lot worse. You know what I mean? Like you're in for worse. It's embarrassing. It's bad. It's really bad.
Can you hear me now?
Oh yeah, Max. What did you think?
I liked it.
You liked it.
Yeah.
So it was it?
Did I think it was like superb? There were some parts, but overall, I liked it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Good. I know. I am happy for you.
You don't
Max.
like it?
No. What would you think, Johnny? Oh, we can't hear you, Johnny. Right. So Johnny says
to plug in his mic.
Yeah, Johnny. He's a music guy. He's a sound guy. He really knows a lot about sound design and yeah, you know, this is like his thing.
He's a tech guy, really.
he's a tech guy. He's a tech guy. No, okay, so I will be just straight up fucking honest. I was like rooting for the show, and if it was you know, to give it like a letter grade, the finale was a C and the show was a C, and it was only a C because of the A+ episode before. I mean, at the end of the day, Boba Fett is ultimately, to me, a fairly boring character without a lot of point or promise. There was it did not over deliver. It did not make me want to go back and see the whole thing from a new perspective. I don't know what kind of fucking fun drugs they're doing up in San Francisco, but they're not sharing it with me when I'm watching this shit, because it was honestly, it was just very, very much flat and even. There was just people pointing laser guns. A fucking short bus with 5 people showed up as reinforcements, and now the day is saved. And then I was like, what is that? And then they climb, and then the monster climbs up the tower and rips it apart, but it's fine the next minute. It's cool. It's this is that show. You know what I mean? But I could look past that kind of stuff just for like if it was like really fun. But I just honestly didn't have fun. And yeah. So
no ship. No Slave One. Fennec just takes off. Geography's poor.
Okay, I'm back.
Everything is bad. I can't look. I mean, I have seen low budget science fiction. Firefly is a good example of a low budget science fiction show. Firefly, And you're the worst episode of Firefly you can imagine. Doesn't come close to the idiocracy that this show has put forth. It's bad. Like I don't understand how the guy who like go look at the fight sequences in El Mariachi, the $7,000 version, you know, and it's kinetic. It has geography. It has logic. You know, it's fun. It's over the top. I'm struggling, man, to figure out what the fuck happened to these people. I'm struggling.
I mean, there were some several parts of this. I actually learned that I should really speak up now. So
yeah,
so I actually there are several parts that I thought were slow. I was just watching it, and I don't think it needed to be as long as it did. I felt in the beginning that they didn't have a lot of foot soldiers. They didn't have a lot of support. So that was a bit odd. There were several elements of the show that I did like, and I'm sure you know which ones those are. So
no, tell me.
No, we don't know which those are.
But
Not.
oh, you don't? No, the whole
No,
Grogu
what are
shit
they?
that I was talking
What
about.
are they? Well, you didn't talk
The
about
whole
them on the show.
Huh?
Well,
What?
say them. What are the things you like?
No, I did. I've been talking about the whole Grogu going back to Mando.
Okay.
That was very prevalent
Yeah.
what I was rooting for.
You wanted that. You were pretty adamant
Yeah,
about
and I
it.
got it.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, no, those are the parts. I'm glad Cad Bane got killed.
I'm not.
I like that. I am.
I wanted. It was so good. I was like, was the one contribution. I was hoping that they would milk a little bit more.
Yeah.
Right.
But
Yeah, they
Such a good character. He looks
JJ'd
so
him.
good. He looks so good.
He's dead.
He
He's
looks
dead.
good. It's one of those characters
He's
that
dead.
works so well that you brought from the animation. That's the character you're like, oh my god, it actually worked really well. I can't believe that. The whole
No,
time.
it did. I
Yeah.
absolutely agree.
No, like
but
no, it's like one of those. I didn't
think-
really expect it to work
I think
that
that
well.
he had to. I think that he had to like show, you know, that that one moment where he kicks ass and that he did it against Cad Bane and killed him. So good.
yeah. It
So-
was.
But there were several parts where I don't understand why he was so soft, but I don't know. I didn't hate
Yeah.
this. I didn't think that it was awful. I didn't think it was the worst show ever. It had
Yeah.
holes.
It wasn't
I
holiday
enjoy-
special bad. I don't
Huh?
think it was holiday special bad like
No.
Rob, but I also don't think it was inspired whatsoever.
It's Rise of Skywalker bad.
That there's hyperbole in that, but it's not totally off. Okay, like
I was kind of
Seriously.
hoping that like Grogu
Guys,
was going to
come
take
on,
the saber
look,
or something.
I get you.
interesting.
It's not like Art Carney trying to ad lib, but it feels like a bunch of like. Look at the hamburger head guy and all the faces he's making. Like when they get saved, and he's like,
That's what I'm saying. It's
I'm like, what
hyperbolic.
is
It's a
this
bit
shit?
hyperbolic, but it's not totally off. You're
I'm being
right.
nice. I'm
Yeah.
being nice. Hate me all I fucking want. I dare people to keep making
James,
Star
wake
Wars
up,
like
James.
this. You know,
What
I
did you
dare
say?
people-
What are you saying, Rob?
No, I'm saying that, you know, some people in the chat are like, "Oh, Rob, come on." I'm like, I dare Lucasfilm to keep making Star Wars like this and watch what happens.
Yeah.
Right?
It won't.
I recommend
It
it.
won't.
Watch what happens. Watch how this thing falls into irrelevancy within a year or two. Just I mean, luckily we got some things behind it. But this crew, this should be a giant wake-up call. I'm telling you. They're undoing all the goodwill they've built up in the last 2 years.
Yep.
You know? I mean, I this is the first time I've looked at my watch. I mean, since episode 1, like, geez, you know, but like, I just didn't think it was going to be this. When I said it was going to be a 6, I was like, I'm taking the prices right under here. You know what I mean? But like, I didn't think it would be like, oh, wow, we'll just do shit that makes no sense. Like, oh, I'm willing to die here. I can't abandon them. And then he leaves them, gets a Rancor, comes all the way fucking back from God knows how far away on a Rancor. You know, and just shit like that. Like, and like, what's her face showing up in the rickshaw? She didn't hear all that all the roars and the people running and screaming.
She
and
was the only
carnage.
good thing about the episode for me.
She was
the
good,
only
but
thing
I'm
that
just saying
worked.
the plot logic when she shows up in the rickshaw. She's
Yeah.
like, what's the sound? I can't hear you. I'm like, I can't.
She's a clown.
So,
she
No.
she defies
When-
logic. So
and
it's like,
when you say the
one.
Rancor shows up, it's like I don't know how that's what you create when the Rancor shows up.
Yeah.
How is that what happens when the Rancor shows up? Oh, they'll have to do a King Kong thing. Oh, great.
But it did give me my favorite comment on the show of all time. I'm gonna go back to it again. Luke was savage, like sending a Tinder date home in an Uber. You know, when I wrote that
It's the best way you could have dealt with that, actually, if that's the decision that Grogu makes, in my opinion, because you can't have Luke come back there, or else Jason, Luke comes back there. He's like, wait, hey, is this Jakku? What's going on here?
This guy. No, I wrote an article about how like clearly Grogu was going to pick going back to Mando. Like that was pretty inevitable, and there was a lot of stuff going for it. And somebody's like, well, yeah, that and the giant fucking bubble in the back of the N1, that's clearly for him. And in my head, I'm like, yeah, but you know what? Like that's gonna come later, and that's like not now. They're not that stupid.
Well, they are.
Touche, internet. Touche.
Yeah.
You-
Where's
you
that
can just
Crimson
tell.
Dawn, huh?
I mean, you could tell the show had no identity of its own. It was just a tack on to Mando season 3. It was just like an afterthought that wasn't very well thought out, and just they'll just slap it on there. Because obviously this tied into what they already had planned for Mando season 3. I think you talked about that. I mean, it became blatantly obvious the last few episodes. And yeah, it's like they didn't think this out. They like had this idea, and then they just had this half-formed idea that they just tried to cobble together into a show. And it's like, this is what happens when you try to just like throw something on the screen. It's like they didn't take a second pass at the scripts. They just didn't think this thing through at all, it looks like. And the editing throughout the entire series has been just bizarre.
The editing actually assumes that we can't accept faster and more intense when we were fucking raised on faster and more intense. The editing is like the slowest Star Wars editing I've ever felt in my life. I don't know if it's just the show, if it's really real, but I feel like the beats per minute at which it is edited to.
It's slow.
Like, what do you mean? What do you mean? Like thinking that what you're making is made for children and not for adults that can handle mature.
No,
you can't
as in
keep up. Like you're
as in
slow,
like
and you don't
when
get
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like the people that are making it think that it's not for adults, and that.
Can you hear
No.
me, guys?
like
Yeah.
adult children
Quicker pacing.
can take very, very fast paced TikTok
Mhm.
goddamn bullshit. They could definitely go with something faster. And I'm fucking
TikTok
an old
faster and more
codger.
fan.
I'm an old codger, and I feel like the editing is too slow in general on the show. I feel like the ideas like linger, and I'm like, yeah, I get it. Fucking let's move on.
It's
yeah,
not even the
gun small.
pacing.
Okay.
It's the sequence of events in terms of what you decide to keep, what you decide not to keep, how you arrange those sequence of events. The whole thing was edited just in it's just the most bizarre way that it just makes zero sense. I mean, I'm as confused as Rob is. I don't know what the fuck happened.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Jason,
Max.
can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, you couldn't before. So
Yeah,
Okay.
Ed says, why did he need to bring a Rancor when he could have brought Slave One?
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. You're exactly
Yeah.
right.
Mm.
No, you're
was the point of it?
100% correct.
Yeah.
You're 100% correct, and it doesn't make any sense. It's lazy and dumb. And
Now
don't
I know
it
why
happened.
Slave One
Well,
wasn't in.
we were-
Hold
I'm
on,
serious. I don't know why it happened. Why did it happen? Why?
Now
did
I
that
know
happen?
what, Johnny. I know now why Slave One wasn't in any of the hanger shots. Clearly, so they wanted you just not to think about it.
Mm,
Like that's
makes
it.
sense.
You know, they just don't want you to think about it. So it's like if we just don't have them seeing the ship, they'll kind of forget about it. You know,
Yeah, but
it's,
can we come to some sort of like understanding of why that's not what happened? Is it that they're just really big on that Rancor shot once the person that was going to direct that episode saw it in the concept art?
probably.
Or
Well,
is
and I
it like
think people are
wait,
waiting
hold
for
on.
that.
Is this it's simply just too expensive to have Slave One do those shots, and it's easier to do like this textured beast that we're using? I don't know. Is it easier to do that shot? Does it cost less?
way
Does it cost
easier
less?
to do
Johnny,
that.
yeah.
I don't know. I have
Johnny,
no
you asked the
idea.
question. Let me answer, and I'll tell you. Because they
Yeah.
had an idea that was, let's do a Rancor. Okay. And then, that defies logic. Oh, well, we don't care. We
I'll
have
have him do a King Kong thing, right? That's basically it. Yeah,
That's it.
This is
This
is the
yeah. It's
this
fucking
is,
embarrassing. So that's basically it.
this is the problem I have with whiteboards, because you can throw shit up on the whiteboard and say, "Oh, that looks cool. Let's do that." But the problem is, if you just do that and you don't think what actually makes logical sense, and you don't work your idea into some kind of cohesive storyline, you just get a bunch of whiteboard nonsense about, "Oh, let's have Boba ride a Rancor." They could have very easily just shown a scene with a mechanic working on Slave One saying, "Hey, when you were on Morak and you got shot by that TIE fighter, you blew your engine," and there you go. Slave One's out of the picture. If you really want to do it, you can work it into your story. But they just decided, we want a Rancor, and fuck all logic. We're just going to throw them in there.
And I have to say, the Rancor payoff, I don't really think was that worth it. It wasn't very neat. It was very much like what you would have seen in season 2 of the Clone Wars, in terms of neatness, and that was before the show hit its stride. And yeah, I really just, I'll watch it again tomorrow, but I'm actually not really looking. I usually have this feeling inside my cold little frozen heart where I'm like, I can't wait to go watch it again.
That's what I felt right now. When those droid things came out with the turrets, and like they couldn't shoot properly at them, like these like fucking I don't know how much they cost in the Star Wars fucking universe. I don't know, these like $1 billion turrets that are like the top of the line. They can't shoot you properly, and they all went and hid. Hey, let's get all our reinforcers that just showed up on these weird Vespas to hide behind the exact same place where these things are shooting at us. Like, what are you doing? Like, that doesn't even make any sense. Like, there's like, you have to be a child to be like, oh my god, holy shit, this really ups the stakes.
Jedi Cowboys,
we're all behind the same thing now.
This wasn't the book of Boba Fett. It should have been the loose leaf pamphlet of Boba.
Jesus.
It's almost the choose your own adventure of Boba Fett. You know, like choose your own.
Yeah, choose your own adventure.
Yeah, I'm gonna go off on this tangent now, and then I'm gonna go back over and do this. You know, and then can I pick another ending?
Yeah.
And then there's, you know, like this
like
character dies. Maybe
it's like intergalactic cable.
It's like they're picking story decisions off of like, what are people going to speak about for more time? This story decision is going to take 15 minutes of people's time when they're speaking about it. This decision is going to make 2 minutes. And, you know, it's very odd.
Mark Hamilton says, I was underwhelmed. What was the point of staying in the sanctuary? The plot was all over the place. Some fun action scenes, but where was the war? It was a street skirmish, not finale material.
No,
I can't disagree with anything that you're saying. A part of me wants to go. You know, maybe it was a COVID thing. They talked about how they did things in one shot, and everyone was surprised at how fast he was shooting. And I think that right there, maybe that's the answer. But it's not an excuse.
Hey, what about Robert Rodriguez said at the beginning before the thing starts about it? Rob, did you feel Godfather at all, buddy?
Yeah. This is called Dream Big, Fail Hard. This is what this show is, you know.
Like, what are they talking about? Like, honestly, every single time I listen to Robert Rodriguez speak about anything now, all I'm gonna think about is him playing with fucking action figures.
I hope Mr. Soundwave is right. He says Cad was beeping. He's alive, methinks. I didn't hear that, but I hope you're correct, because what a waste of a great character.
You can't kill that guy. He paid off great in live action. He actually looked awesome. Like, yeah, like there's no ifs ands or buts about that. Looked great. Costume guy's great. Good job. Got to keep him around.
They kind of did like a thing at the end too, where like everyone was like a family or something, and like Uncle Crescent was there now, and like
they're all a family. Yeah.
Oh, you didn't earn that.
They did the red shield from like every RPG Star Wars game of all time. You get them down. Like I get that, but like the ending of like, well, now we're gonna start season 2, and then there's no like there's no Kenobi anything at the end of that after the credits.
Did anyone see the ending?
I did. There's nothing there. It just ends.
Okay.
That's also an embarrassment.
No, we go back to Cobb Vanth in the Bacta tank. Is the credit sequence?
Oh, I didn't.
Did that happen?
Yeah, it did happen.
Did that actually happen? Oh yeah. No, I went back. I I scrolled through it and I didn't see
I'm
that.
telling you right now. That's what happened.
Holy shit!
It's-
Yeah, I
it's-
scrolled through that and did not see that.
yeah. You scroll right
Oh,
past it.
So it's
and
just it's
Rick
Cobb
James,
Vance, that's
Rick
it?
James is in there, and he's like
Okay, here we
ready
go.
to operate on him.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Here
So-
we go. Hey, by the way,
Yeah,
Rob,
I mean-
you didn't tell me what you thought about that.
About what?
Never mind.
Johnny, you're out of control, man.
I'm
What are
just
you
trying to get
talking
him going.
about?
I'm trying to get him going. It's okay.
The episode was, I mean, the whole show, I don't think was like personally enough for me to get, pissed off or angry about.
Yeah.
Where was it slow? Yes, of course. I think the editing could have been better. Just as far as like pacing goes and stuff like that. Again, I there were multiple parts of this episode that I did appreciate. But yeah, that's it.
Yeah, there was like moments in it when Din and Boba are like fighting together, and I remember thinking to myself, I'm supposed to be pumped, like this is really cool, but this is really just a bunch of things that are happening that are like telling me I'm supposed to be excited, and it really wasn't. It didn't have the kinetic energy or flow to make me excited. Like they were like,
Spin
yeah,
and shoot. Spin and shoot. You like the spin and shoot? Everyone's got to spin and then shoot. Look, spin and shoot. No stunt quarter came up with that. That's Robert Rodriguez came up with that. Someone who has no fucking idea how to shoot a weapon or stage a fight. Thought about let's spin and shoot, just like in a video game. Like no, it's not like a video game. It looks
You're
bad.
right. You're right. There was a lot of like a video game moments, wasn't there? Like when they're getting shot, they're like, but they're getting shot in the armor, but like it hurts for some reason. And then when they had to fight the droids with the shields, it was like another like. And I'm not somebody who like I didn't leave Attack of the Clones going Padme goes through a video game level. I hate that movie. I mean, like I'm not that guy. But in this thing right here, I felt like, yeah, if you were making a video game, those dramatic beats were fine. But in a drama where I'm not controlling the character with the controller, I don't know why you're doing that.
Yeah, and they're like pinned down in it. You know, like in the game when you're locked and you can't leave an area because it won't let you. Like I'm like they could have just ran away from those slow moving fucking droids the whole time. Like all of them could just get up and run. Just run. Go in the building. The lasers aren't blowing up the buildings. The walls seem to protect you. Right? So like just go in the building. This is like think about how well put together the train heist was. With the action, the staging, right? The stakes, the raising up, building up to the conductors, all of that down to the crescendo. And then look at this and it's like people can say it's not that bad, Rob. Okay, it's not that bad. It's worse than bad. It's irrelevant. And this is like Star Wars. Like, oh hell no, I'm not gonna watch this again. There's no point to watching this again.
No way.
No, I'm asking Rob. I wasn't asking anybody else.
Sorry.
I can't even recommend my wife. I guess that she'll find the Boba Fett, the Grogu with the button pushy thing fun. That'll be it. Because it's when I have to look. I'm a really sympathetic person to production. I'm extremely sympathetic. I know how hard it is to make stuff, but when you are at the top, right? You have all the funds, you have all the goodwill, you have a built-in fan base, you have everyone rooting for you, and you show up with then you deserve to take the L, you know? And I hope they learn, right? The 2 L's, learn 100%. From this loss because it's a big loss. I feel bad for the people who, you get excited, you're part of a production, and then you're like, I'm running around with the little pew pew. You got a bunch of people who are modded and they all have like the tiniest little guns. And like when the Vespas roll in, what do? They stand there and get blown up. I was cheering for the droids. I'm like, I'm not that guy. I'm just not. I'm like, I like to root, but there are battles on the promenade on Deep Space Nine and that are well better put together than this episode. So think about that,
Yeah.
Sir Marshall says that's hyperbole, Rob.
Right, it's hyperbole, Marshall.
He said it's a fucking shame. He says it's a fucking shame that you're using so much hyperbole and that it's
great.
Not
it's
that
a shame.
bad.
It's
is that bad?
It's a shame. Yeah,
It is that
great.
bad.
Make more of it. Keep making these. You know, this will go really. You know what sucks is Tamura Morrison's a good actor. I didn't think I would feel for a lot of his acting. I was like, guy's rusty. I don't know. You know, he's not that big of. I was like, this dude. When Cad Bane says, you know, your father, you know, he was weak, or you know, you're weak, or you should be a killer. You should be. I was like, well, now we're getting something there, right? Like, there's some meat. This guy knows him. And I'm like, Cad should have been there since the beginning, you know? Like, there's this legacy. Yeah, there's this legacy that we know of, but no one in the show, or you even think Boba knows. And it isn't until this episode when Cad goes, "You're just gonna run and hide in your back to tank." Like, yeah, we're all wondering the same fucking thing, man. You know, like
that was a good line when he says that, and what we had all been thinking throughout the series. But then they go on to mention the Bacta tank three more times, and I started to be like, they keep mentioning that taking a bath is how you make it all better in Star Wars, and I'm like, that's not a good idea. They overdid it by far. And Jedi Cowboy says Grogu needs to do the flipping around to distract the Scorpion droid so Din could take it out, and I thought having Grogu showed up and having studied with Luke Skywalker for a while, and there being the they couldn't get past. I was like, that was the perfect opportunity for Grogu to have had his Yoda Attack of the Clones moment. And that would have really taken that up a notch. And that would have been if Grogu had a very fucking great like moment where you're like, whoa. Now maybe they didn't want to give him the ability, then he'll have to live with it. But instead, what we actually got was, remember when Din was about to be killed by that Geonosian monster previously? And then he grabs the beast, and then they basically just did that again.
Yeah, hold on. I liked that they kept it to that though, because if Grogu was able to take out that whole droid, that's too powerful. So for him to focus on that whole droid,
he's a Jedi,
and to take, you can't. And not every single Jedi can destroy an entire droid like that. That's like Luke Skywalker.
Wait a minute.
Oh, really? I watched this episode.
Every Jedi is the same power level.
If you want to make check boxes, I mean, he's a fucking Jedi. Yeah, he could take out a fucking shield.
Little Grogu. Yeah, but that's OP, and you can't have that with somebody and doing normal stories, because then every single time anything happens, it's like,
Johnny,
Grogu.
it's exactly Johnny.
That's the problem with
exactly
Jedi.
why the droids failed against the Jedi in the prequels. Because when he's like, our weapons are too kinetic and we can't get through by hand, but if you have the Force, you can just crush them. That's why the droids.
It's obvious that you needed the Force, though. Yeah, I get that. I know.
But the Jedi weren't going to just rip arms and crush humans.
No,
like that was sort of like when you have a human army, you can kind of prey on their code.
Yes.
But when you're a robot, it doesn't matter.
Yes,
it's a little different.
Andy,
we're fucking clown.
I wanted to love Andy.
What's your point? That I didn't even say anything that has anything.
No, that's not you. It's Andy. It's not you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got clown shoes on tonight. I'll take the hate for this one, guys. You know, if you want to defend this episode,
at least direct it at the right person, Rob. Like, don't get me fucking mixed up with Andy.
Johnny, I'm not talking to you, bro. I'm not talking to you. You're like 10 steps behind the comments.
Why?
Well, I'm not up on the comments, bro. You're up, because you're obsessed with the comments. That's why you're upset.
My problem with it is that you brought Grogu back. Why? And it was simply to do a moment that you created to make that happen. It didn't act. It wasn't like the story didn't need it. It was there so that moment could happen. Everything was laid out like an obstacle course that was designed, rather than one that they ran into and it actually made any kind of kinetic energy and flow. So if they just hadn't done that, it just would have been fine.
Yeah, they didn't earn any of their payoff.
The story didn't care.
No, Grogu shouldn't have been there at all. Grogu should have chose the lightsaber.
They didn't earn any payoffs in the show, and the things they set up that didn't even pay off, like the whole Tusken thing. Like I was assuming they were going to show up. I mean, I think we all were, like, you know, that was going to be a payoff moment. Instead, it's just this random thing that Cad Bane brings up, and it's, oh, by the way, these guys killed that. But it just fell flat then. It's like, okay, this has like almost no weight to it whatsoever. So it was like all this setup, it goes nowhere. And then the stuff like, Grogu just shows up randomly, and it's like you get all these payoffs that aren't earned. You know, they're all high-fiving Chrysanthemum at the end. like they're like, you know, one big happy fan. Yeah, it's always like, man, it's just basic stuff. It's just really basic stuff. And this isn't like a failure, like, people want to point to like Last Jedi or something where, Ryan Johnson tried to do something bold and ambitious and maybe it fell flat. This is them just failing. This is just walking up a flight of stairs and falling on your ass.
Well,
Everybody walks upstairs every day. They don't fall on their ass. These guys somehow managed to do that on a Star Wars project with a massive budget.
the edit also totally forgot about Fennec, and then they're like, "Hey, remember her?" And then she just like,
I didn't notice that until you just said that. Yeah, when she pops up at the end like that, and it's like, okay. Oh, and by the way, the shots coming from the ceiling, I don't even understand that. There's like these shots just coming from the ceiling. Is that not like an enclosed space that you guys are hiding out in? No, these shots, random angles, just coming down. Okay, all right, cool.
Yeah,
don't try to make sense.
Yeah,
didn't make any
you gotta,
sense.
Chris,
I have
would have
no
been cool
idea.
if R2 had done a bombing run with the X-wing. Like,
Yeah, honestly,
like
throw it in there. That's
anything.
better than what happened. It's better than what happened.
at least that would have been unexpected. Like, we
Yeah,
would not
yeah.
have been like, hey, like R2's actually.
Or maybe, or how about this? Maybe R2 pops the lightsaber out of his head, throws it to the girl in the hangar. Hey, it's better than anything. It's better than what we got. It's better than what we got.
I guess. But
A Joe Yowza musical would have been better than this. Okay.
yeah.
So does that lightsaber not go anywhere though? That's kind of what I'm getting. Like, is that just gone now?
Yeah, he didn't take it. He didn't take it.
Well,
So
we'll wait till the next Yoda creature comes along that we've never seen ever in any other Star Wars ever again.
I'm gonna bet you Luke just like goes to that box every now and then, and he goes, "My master had this, and boy did." It's like a Ralph Macchio and Cobra Kai moment where he won't stop talking about Mr. Miyagi every fucking 15 minutes. You want to punch him in his fucking throat. I bet you they're gonna do that with that lightsaber, and it's gonna be. But
he's gonna be like, I read that comic that came out last year. I'm supposed to throw this into a fire.
Yeah.
And
So I'm reading something that Carl said. I do think Din Djarin and Grogu felt shoehorned into the story. I don't think so. I think that's something that they already had in mind.
I think Boba Fett was shoehorned into this story.
They have literally nothing to do with anything that's going on, and they're just there. That's literally it. Grogu and Mandalorian. The entire story could have happened without Mando and Grogu, and it would have been the exact same.
Well, I just they put too much on the table and didn't develop what they had already had on the table enough. And I don't know. I don't really know. Like, so much of the cool stuff that Boba could have done was they're shared with Din, and then in the end, it just kind of was lackluster.
Well,
I mean, when I watched season 2 of The Mandalorian and Boba was introduced, it was fucking beautiful. It was great, and he had great moments, and he had none of those great moments in this show. And in fact, this show undid a lot of the point of the season 2 of The Mandalorian. I'm not sure if it was really worth it. I don't know.
Yeah. No, the big thing of the show was the Grogu will he, won't he? But they did that at the end of Mando too. Is he going to go with Luke or is he going to stay with Mando? And then that was the big payoff here again.
Wait, no, hold on. This show forgot that Boba Fett is a cold-blooded fucking killer who runs spice and sells like this guy is a piece of shit.
John,
he's a serial killer.
John,
he's a serial killer.
What are you talking about, Johnny?
Boba Fett. He kills people for a living.
No, he's not an assassin. He's a bounty hunter.
He's a bounty hunter.
It's a different thing. But the thing about it is that
a bounty hunter in the slumlord doesn't kill people, doesn't.
But he does it. He's indifferent. He's not like the Emperor. He's not.
It doesn't matter. Yeah, he's a piece. Yeah, he's a piece of shit. He's a piece of shit.
Yeah, but he's not evil in the sense that
he works for the. He works again. He's worked for the Empire.
But he's not just go out and kick puppies. The Emperor would do that.
I don't care.
He's not a bad guy in that sense. He's a different kind.
Hold on
a
second.
He's not a ruthless murderer. He's just
if you're getting paid by Hitler to do shit, and you're like, oh, I'm not Hitler though. I'm just getting paid by him. It's cool.
Yeah,
fine. Completely fine. It has nothing to do with my character.
But you're saying he's a cold-blooded killer.
Yeah.
He's not. If you try to compare Boba Fett to the Emperor, they're not the same guy.
The Emperor is like genocidal, but Boba Fett's still a piece of shit.
Boba Fett doesn't give a shit. Boba Fett will not kill you unless it's worth his time or money.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
money. He'll kill
Right.
you for money. He'll kill
Right.
you. He's a killer.
So he's not a sadist. He's not just a guy who
Yeah.
just like,
Are you? What are you?
he's not Jeffrey
You're
Dahmer.
getting okay. You're being ridiculous.
said he's a
he's a
cold-blooded
killer.
killer.
He's a killer. He will kill you for money. He's a terrible person.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a terrible guy. He'll kill you for
Wow.
money.
Well, what you're,
So, like, what's the-
what you're saying is completely irrelevant because he's gone through a transformation when he was
Yeah.
with the Tuscans, and
With the
now
Tuscans,
he's nice.
yeah.
Okay, now he's nice.
Yep.
But
Now he's nice.
but all the only thing that really paid off from that, like,
Am
like,
I talking to
knew-
the same people that were like, "Oh, I get it when Mace Windu comes back"?
Calm
It
down,
makes sense.
calm down, Johnny, calm down.
Johnny, you need to calm down, Johnny. Seriously. You're giving me
but-
anxiety.
when they introduced the Tuscan plot twist, and then I thought for sure that the Mos Pelgo people were going to bring the Tuscans with them who maybe like fought with them against the dragon, against the Great Dragon.
Mhm.
I thought there was going to be like something that was going to bring it all together in some way, and it was really weird. For as many things as they thought of to include, what they created they didn't think to include. That's what was really strange about it. It had to have been fast tracked. There's just no way that this was like this was their best work.
Think about when Josh Trank was announced to be the director of Boba Fett, and the Fantastic Four movie came out, and everyone was like, "Oh, he's gonna ruin it." I'm just curious to know what that script was, because I have a feeling it was an actual Boba Fett movie.
I think it was an outline at best.
An outline.
That's what I think it was. Yeah, but
It's
yeah,
a shame,
it is. Yeah, looking at it now, I think that it most certainly would have been better.
Yeah, one can hope they
When was-
learn from this one.
I don't think they will. The only thing they're going to learn is that, people like the episodes with Luke and Grogu in them. So let's just fucking throw Luke and Grogu at shit.
Yeah.
In case of emergency, break Luke, bring out Han, bring out Luke, bring out something. So the fan, because did the fans forget how bad the first 4 episodes were once Mando showed up in that 5th episode? All of a sudden it was just like, hey, this is great. Like,
Winning does cure everything, though, James. You need to.
No,
those weren't.
4
It wasn't
episodes
just.
go away.
But it wasn't just nostalgia. Those episodes had a beginning and a middle and an end, and you cared, and it had
There was
visually
fucking
stunning things to
Boba
look at, and the fights were fun to watch. Yeah, they really were. And so
Yeah, episode 2
the difference what you have here is you just have a bunch of things on the table, and you don't feel like anyone's using them to any extent. Like, what's the point of Vespas other than we're just going to drive around? What is the point of these vehicles? What is their purpose? Like, it's just odd, And like I said, when we were first talking about the first couple episodes, and I was just curious about how are they getting in and out of town, And it's like, well, it doesn't really matter, Rob. I'm like, well, now they're in the middle of a fight. All of a sudden, Fennec has a speeder bike. Did Boba Fett arrive on a speeder bike? Did he fly in? And then it's just odd. It's just, and that's the writing. That's not on Robert Rodriguez. That's the writing. The writing. The Jon Favreau has to own this one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree with TK. I enjoyed Mando in parts of this. Boba had faults. That's not the end of Star Wars. The team needs to listen to criticism and improve. And I think that is very much on right there. And it's like they had this idea, and I'm not somebody who goes around going force diversity, but the speeder bike gang does kind of reek of, oh, well, Twitter's gonna love if we have a girl who's just like a girl on Twitter. It does have that kind of like vibe to it. And then but then they don't do anything with it because they don't know what to do with it. They just thought if they checkboxed it would pay off, and it takes more than that. I don't mean to sound like a Phantom Menace guy or something, but that's true right here. I think is a really clear indication of them doing that and not knowing what the fuck to do with it.
I did ask a friend, because actually he asked me what I thought of Boba Fett, and I told him same thing that I've said on here. I said I like it, but it's just that the pacing's very different. It's slower, blah blah blah, and his response was, I think that COVID had a lot to do with it.
Mhm.
I don't know. I don't know which way. I know we said this before, but I don't hate the show. I don't.
Yeah, I don't hate it either. I don't hate it.
But obviously we're getting very excited about it, and obviously the chat's acknowledging that. And everyone's entitled to their own opinion. That's fine. But I don't know. I think the editing for this episode could have been condensed. I don't know if we needed such a long. And some of the characters just questionable, And I'm the one that's the most, I guess, positive. I guess,
Mhm.
not positive, but like my critique isn't so hard. I guess.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And I mean,
for me,
whatever,
like there was stuff like everything was very, for me, what I found it kind of, I don't know, for a minute I was like, do I like how dumb this part is? Like they put Chrysanthemum in where the Trandos are, and I'm like
I know. Well,
like,
yeah,
like,
those
like
are like
they're just
Wookiee
making
hunters.
they're just making it easy on themselves. That's like a T-ball setup for
Yeah, that I totally
themselves.
agree.
And then what he calls it Phoenix. The Phoenix splitting was rough. Jedi Mike says Phoenix splitting was rough, and did not like Din calling the armor a shirt. I both of those things did stand out to me too, and it was really weird just how she like explained what their move was to him, and then when the Twi'lek mayor's assistant dude, who I guess is now there, they probably inherited him. The comedic bits with him, I didn't like anything about that character, what he did, until Moto showed up and called him pretty, and she's missing a tooth, and I was like, well, okay,
Good.
this
Did
I could
you see
get
her
behind.
spit out the tooth?
Yeah.
Did you see her spit? I fucking laughed.
Yeah, like the stuff with her was, I mean, once again, like I've always liked that character, but I thought she was one of the best parts of the episode by far, and I think that she rose above the material pretty often, and made that shit really really work when it for her. But yeah, I hope they don't make a season 2. I hope they just make something else, and Boba's there. If
you know what, I'm going to say that I don't think that they're going to have a season 2.
Yeah,
hopefully not. Hopefully not. They can just leave it.
No, not hopefully not. I just don't think
a comic book.
I just don't think that they're going to have.
And the comic book
I don't
can
think
be.
That they're going to have one.
The cover of the comic book can be that shot of them all standing there.
Because I think, well, ultimately, it's the whole thing is about the Mandalorian. This is probably just a side, like a spinoff, story.
Just to keep Star Wars in people's minds.
They're just probably going to keep going. Their focus is the Mandalorian.
Yeah,
and that's what a lot of the people were excited about.
Yeah,
they need to go way back with Boba if they do anything else. If they can't go I don't want them to go forward on this storyline. I want them to go back to.
I thought Boba should die.
Free A New Hope. Boba Fett.
And they could do that. They could end up showing, doing going back, and at this point, I don't know. I don't know if they're even bother.
We got no Maz Castle. We got no Han Solo.
We can pick the story. Kira. We can pick the story back up, and he's with the biker gang. What are you talking about?
I told you there was no way in hell
you guys don't want to see that
be in this series. Like, and it had nothing to do with Rob knew better. It's just like they're not tying in the comics. Like the Black Chrysanthemum thing is like that's for if you know what it is, but if you have no idea, it's just a Wookiee. And I thought if they were gonna do so, if Crimson Dawn on them if they were gonna utilize the comics to enhance the show, then the flashback scene would have been Black Chrysanthemum. You would have seen him in the gladiator pits with the Trandoshans. You would have had a good 15-minute sequence or a 10-minute sequence flashback where you see him fighting for his life and how he hates the Trandoshans, and then we cut to bam, they're having a drink, dun, 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 and so you can. But when they had, Jennifer Beals, Twi'lek just tell him you were all this and you were that and you were this, it's like All right, man. Like, if you don't have the budget for that, then at least do it through concept art, maybe. I don't know. Like motion comic, like sequence, crawl. I don't know, something.
Literally anything other than what you did. Anything other than what you did.
And
Why even use the
really-
pikes? They could have just kept the Hudson there from the second episode and had them be the big bad with a bunch of grunts and foot soldiers. That's
No.
basically all the pikes were.
It makes
So
so
it's
much
like,
sense.
why even bring that? They overcomplicated the story for no reason. Could have just had a fight between Jabba's, former heirs and Boba Fett.
I would not be
bring in the
surprised
story.
if at some point during development the idea was that they were outsiders, not native to Tatooine, therefore they were wholly rejected, but the population was being suppressed, and then they just didn't do that. You know what I mean? Just being oppressed by them, and then they didn't. I mean, we do have the Tuscans getting shot by them, but we really don't get the vibe that they actually didn't really seem like they were that bad for the general population. Other than on the last episode, they say this spice is really tearing up the community. Something
They
like
don't
that.
show it.
they had this talk of like Tatooine used to have water on it. I mean, like, where's the
What?
group that
They
Who said
mentioned
that?
that 4 times in the show.
Yeah, they said that 4 times
For
in the
no
show. What are you
reason.
talking about? Yeah.
Yeah.
And so look, where's the group where's the group that's like a proponent? Like, where's the group that's like on that side? Where's the water? Bring water back to Tatooine. I don't know. That could be maybe a political group that's vying for power, or just add another dynamic of. They mentioned it a bunch of times, so why not have it be?
Sonia says, I think everyone got high on the cameo juice of last episode and expected the moon. And I
You
agree with you that hold on.
Penultimate is so much better.
Yeah, that's kind of the problem is that you're right. The penultimate was way better. Some were saying Leia would be in this episode. Carrie is dead with limited footage and the voice interviews that would fit. Well, the thing about it is, like, when they did Luke Skywalker in the last episode, Mark Hamill didn't record one line of dialogue according to his son Nathan.
No,
and so Carrie being dead is pretty much irrelevant. They could bring back Leia with just the same quality for what it's worth as they did Luke Skywalker. I didn't think Leia was going to come. I mean, I kind of hoped that might happen, but I didn't think that was going to happen. But that said, they, in terms of the layout of the season, it was not. It was like there was this thought, I think, that the end battle was just going to be great, and then there's a great end battle. It was like, oh yeah, then we do the great end battle. Yeah, we do all this stuff. Then we do the great end battle, but nobody knew how to make it great. And one of the reasons why that end battle didn't work, in my opinion, is that if you could think of an end battle in a Star Wars film that you've ever had, it's not one thing going on. And if it is multiple things, there's multiple things to juggle. So you have a continual here, there. Like Phantom Menace has 4, which is probably too many. That's probably kind of why people got a little confused. But Return of the Jedi had like 3. I think that's a pretty good number. But in this one, they decided that Fennec going on her journey was 1, and then Boba was 2, and Din was 3. But in reality, it all felt like the same thing, and they forgot about Fennec. And then they just kind of like, I don't know why Boba Fett didn't just go fly and tell his Rancor to be a good boy. At the end of the day, I mean, he unleashed that shit and went to take a shit.
They didn't do no leash training yet, so
yeah.
And let's just say there was an incident, like, let's say, God forbid, like Ming-Na Wen had COVID or something like that, and she couldn't show up for shooting when they're doing this end battle sequence, so she was just out of the picture. They would be smart to at least come out and say that, but they never would. So even if that were the case, even if there was something that came up that prevented them from using her, or something changed.
The character wears a helmet, James.
Yeah, that's what I just said. Keep her visor down. That's all you need to do.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you guys this too, on a sort of a side note. We had Lucasfilm is in a place where whenever a dummy like me comes out and says, Chewbacca gets married in this episode, they can't come out and debunk it, because then if Chewbacca is getting married in this episode, they are therefore confirming. So Lucasfilm has this policy of we don't comment on rumors.
Mm-hmm.
But when you have something where it's very clearly like Kira was mentioned for weeks, and their comic books, their outside campaigns seem to enforce and if not even implant the very idea that Kira was going to appear, shouldn't they have managed expectations?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm wondering, does Lucasfilm do Oppo research? Like, do they do that? Do they not understand what the fans expect? Like, who are the tech guys at Lucasfilm that don't understand?
Oh, that was
how to
George
use-
Lucas, but he
No, I'm just
he's gone.
wondering, like, yeah, who doesn't understand how to use Twitter or Reddit or just to look through what Star Wars people think is going to happen?
The company
like, who
that
doesn't know how to
says,
do that?
Johnny, the company that says don't spoil the secret when it was just like a nothing thing in the episode. Remember that one? They're like, everyone
Yeah.
keep it secret. I'm like, no, tell everyone to go watch your show. You really should be telling people to watch the show.
Yeah.
We don't want to spoil it. Luke's in the episode, so we're just going to show you a ship landing. Like that ad ain't gonna get people to show up to the show. Like, you know, it's
And they have made trailers since the show started that
what
showed a
I'm talking
lot
about.
more than the original trailers that did not spoil a damn thing that actually looked pretty good. So it's like they didn't even have to worry about spoiling anything. So that's what really blows my mind. They could have made a better trailer without spoiling anything, but they just chose not to.
You know, we see these big establishing shots of Mos Espa, right? At the beginning and end of the episode. And I'm like, is there any police force? Is there any sheriffs?
No.
You know, like, does any, like, this whole city just runs away when a big fight breaks out, you know, not even a big fight, but like a little skirmish fight? Because it's just weird.
The daimyo of Tatooine.
That whole city is just like, what, nothing? Like all the foot traffic just stops. People don't, you know, what about the X-Wings that are like, hey, we're protecting these traveling lane ships, right? These space lane ships, because now we got to keep people coming. The space
They
lane
have a
ships
pass.
had to stop when a fight breaks out. So why ain't the Rangers getting involved?
They were
in?
stopping Mandalorian.
No, they get a pass on that one because they explain that the Space Rangers aren't fucking with the Pikes because the Pikes are just too well armed. They just don't have the ability to go up against them in every single place. So they were just like leaving it alone. They actually
Boba Fett was
that
able
one
to go
out.
up against
That makes
them.
sense politically. We have to give props to where the story makes sense. That makes sense politically. You're not getting involved with that because you don't have the power yet. Yeah.
Thank you, Saggy Melons, for stopping in for the alike. I appreciate it. I mean, we can
Saggy Melons is hot. Saggy Melons is hot.
If anybody likes the episode, by all means, like, I'm not telling you that you shouldn't like it. Like, if this worked for you, then good. But I mean, I'm just not going to lie to you and act like it worked for you. You know, the people who do those reaction videos. No, that just did not happen. I was like this. Here's my reaction video.
Hold on, Matthew Palenka. What's up with this Johnny kid? What's up with you, Matthew?
No.
What's up with you, Matthew? Let's
You're poking the rancor.
yeah, let's hear what's going on with you, Matthew.
You're poking the
what's
rancor.
going on with you, buddy. Love to hear it.
I love you, Matthew.
Sure you're doing well.
We were all thinking it, Matthew. We were all thinking it.
Yeah.
Canada's a vicious country.
Vicious.
Matthew. I don't think if you're aware of that.
No idea.
Vicious.
Sorry. James Waldron says they should have given us a cliffhanger to who was behind it. I would, if the show had been more intriguing, I would agree with you. And I do actually agree with you in terms of they should have done that. But since I didn't find the show very intriguing, I'm kind of glad that maybe this can just be left alone. And I gotta say, I don't know if it's everyone who was involved. If it's Robert, I mean, I think at the end of the day, you know, if it had been the best thing ever, Robert Rodriguez and Jon Favreau would have got all the credit. So at the end of the day, I think the buck stops with Favreau and with Rodriguez. And I gotta say, I like movies and things that they've both made. Maybe they don't harmonize together. Maybe they just don't make a good song together. You know what I mean? Maybe they should do different things. Because based off of 6 or 7 episodes of this, I mean, the only thing that I actually like loved in the whole thing was the Dave Filoni episode, and that really felt like mostly an aside and an idea that was a holdover from what they were going to do with Mandalorian at some point, and they just did it here. So without that episode, I would have found this thing to be a wash. I think.
Hey guys, so like, do you think that it would have been better had they condensed it and edited it a little differently? I mean,
Yeah.
given what we had,
God, yeah.
seriously.
Yeah. Start with episode 5, season 3 of The Mandalorian, and cut all that other stuff out. And if they want to
No,
cut
I'm
into
not-
there's a war going on Tatooine, and Mando gets involved, fine. But all that other nonsense, just cut it out. First 4 episodes.
No, I'm not talking.
Rob,
I'm
are
not talking
you
about that. I'm
okay?
talking about-
Saggy
okay.
Melon says you all need to check on Rob. He hasn't moved in a while. Someone do a wellness check.
And he's blue, so that's never a good sign.
He's turning blue. Put him on his stomach. Put him on
Rob's
his
been hanging
stomach.
out with Max Rebo too much.
Okay, let's see the comment here. Jedi Cowboy says the Pike Syndicates control the most expensive drug in the galaxy, and all they send to take out Fett was 30 to 40 guys, and then he gets scared off by a Rancor. Yeah, I mean, I'm okay with the math. It's like one of those things, you know, when they're attacking the Death Star, they say that there's like 30 ships going in, and then there's really 6. Like the actual, like how something looks, what it is, and how it feels is what matters. How it feels, and I just think that it didn't feel right. Something about it just didn't feel right. At least not for me. And it's like, you know, it doesn't break anything. I mean, I think maybe it breaks the prospects of Boba Fett going forward, and maybe makes us go, oh, I guess we need to maybe we could hope for younger Daniel Logan Boba Fett in the early adventures when he's still a bounty hunter. Maybe that's like what's left. But like in terms of Boba Fett as daimyo of Mos Espa, I don't know if I give a shit. Right now, I don't give a shit.
Well, they make him look stupid too when like the Pikes show up with these droids. If somebody lives in that universe and is of that world in Boba Fett's position, they would be expecting them to show up with those droids. Not, oh shit, what do we do now? They have these. That doesn't just come out of the ether. They didn't just like fall through another dimension to land on Tatooine. He's got to know what the Pikes are coming with. So the fact that they don't prepare at all for that contingency and possibility, it makes them just look completely stupid.
Chris,
Hey, Chris.
Hey guys, how are you?
man from Australia.
How you doing? You all
So
good?
Chris Spreezy.
Hey,
What up,
Johnny.
bro? What up?
You good, Johnny?
Yeah, I'm good, man. What's going on?
Good to see you, man.
Yeah, good to see you, buddy.
So
Good to see you. I just watched it now. Go on.
say it again.
I was just saying I was working and I got to watch it a bit late, but I just finished it now, and I'm just I'm here to see how you guys feel about it.
Yeah, we you know, Max is okay.
I liked it.
Yeah, Max
Max
is
loved
okay. And Johnny loved it.
I loved it too. Yeah, Max and I watched it together, and we both felt the same way.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful.
But
Well,
yeah,
Rob,
but Chris,
No.
what did you think, Chris?
Robert, it worked. At some parts of it worked, and some parts didn't. For me, yeah. I mean, I think Mando and Boba fighting side by side was very cool. I really loved that scene. But firing at the shield for about 15, 20 minutes and expecting a different result, I thought that was a bit confusing. Yeah, but basically
Well put.
2.5 out of 5.
Not buying that one, eh, Chris?
Yeah.
No,
What
no, no.
They're,
Just ima-
What is
they were making the
Makes sense,
Gungans
like-
look a little smart. You know, it's not good.
yeah.
what if they had continued to shoot at the shields and then had some Vegemite? Would you have thought that was maybe good?
Look, Johnny, Jason, I sent you some Vegemite a few years ago and you hated it, so I'm going to send you some more. But,
Chris,
Vegemite.
send me Vegemite. Send me Vegemite, bro. It might be
Isn't
free.
it
It might be
really
free to
salty?
send
Johnny,
in the Commonwealth.
if you like eating ass, I mean, I'll send you some, but it's horrible.
I do eat ass. I do eat ass. So it's true. It's true.
Beautiful, beautiful.
It's salty, isn't
What
it?
do we think of that post-credit scene? It is a bit salty.
I
It is
was
a bit salty.
um,
Salty. Yeah.
I was ultimately happy that Cobb Vanth is alive and that he's clearly going to survive and he's going to make it, because it was a waste of a fantastic character how they went that way. And as it was happening, because I had heard that he was had Rangers of the New Republic happen, he was supposed to be like the main guy. And so I was like, shit, did they just fast track the whole story of where he was going to end up in this one? And I was like, oh, okay. So in the end, nothing matters. If Cad's alive and he's alive, nothing matters. I mean,
So is he what, half robot now or something?
yeah,
Like,
yeah, it's just gonna
going
get like a robot dick or a robot shoulder or something, you know?
Oh, that actually happened. I thought till now you were trolling me.
No,
Guys, you haven't thought it through. Hold on. None of you thought this through. He's
Okay.
going to be a Ranger of the New Republic or whatever, right?
yeah.
He's going to be RoboCop. RoboCop.
It's gonna be X-rated Star Wars. It'll be
Jesus.
X-rated.
Right?
It'll be a big thing. It'll be a big thing. Yeah.
Yeah, he's
RoboCop.
RoboCop now.
He's getting the Fennec Strand thing 100%.
Hey, Cobb Vanth, we didn't like the episode. He'll be like, drop it. Okay, that's cool. All right, we'll move on.
Think it through. Think it through. Think it through.
Think it through, asshole.
Your move, punk. Yeah.
What a great moment, too. What a great moment to think it through. Really good. I really
man.
enjoyed that one.
Jason, just quickly, did you enjoy it?
I was honestly, I felt just very much nothing the whole time. Yeah,
Nothing,
yeah. It wasn't. I didn't just find it very dynamic. I felt like it was a bunch of softballs. I felt like they just set themselves up for a bunch of softballs and a bunch of stuff that was just buying time, such as the shields, shooting the shields over and over again.
I don't understand that part.
No, it was time waste.
I'm just remembering people. I'm remembering people a couple weeks ago being like, "Oh my god, the red shields. That means Crimson Dawn." And like all this random shit. People
Well, it was
The part that I-
yeah, music was the big tip off, but I think in the end I was right. I think the quote Crimson Dawn theme is just the Underworld theme.
I think that whatever those notes are, the person that did the score for that episode had no idea.
No,
And-
it's on purpose.
Yeah,
It's on
it's
purpose for sure.
Is it?
Yeah.
Really?
What was that, Max?
Did Din go under the shield like they did with the other droid
Like the
guys
Gungans.
or whatever? And
Yeah.
no, yeah, and
Yeah.
episode 1, how they went underneath and put the bomb.
It was very
Yeah, no,
unclear. Yeah. It was like the shield got weakened by the Rancor and that allowed him. That's the best logic I can make out of it, because they didn't explicitly state it, but then it just kind of happened. And so the only
'Cause they
thing you
did
can
that in
kind of cobble
episode 1.
together that, yeah.
And I
Because
think
they said
episode,
their
or
weapons
the-
were too
Jason, I
fast.
literally just timed that out, dude.
No, I just totally put that one on because I'm like, what's he talking about?
I did the
Everyone looking
opposite
forward
thing.
to seeing the Ahsoka and Rosario's sexy titties in the bubble bath.
We did the opposite.
Where is he getting this bubble bath idea? Sorry, I just had to wonder.
Shitty idea. Yeah, he's in.
That would be a bubble back, though. Would be back to tank. Would be
right.
a nice
Bubble
addition.
backs.
You know,
a bubble back.
Bomb.
uh,
It's a
Yeah,
boba
there you go.
bomb.
that
You
should be
know?
that should be a Patreon level.
It's a-
a bubble.
It's a
bubble back to withdraw.
thermobathinator. Yeah, you drop a thermobathinator into the back to tank and just relieves all your aches and pains.
Yeah, when
It makes
when,
me do a 30-minute episode about Boba Fett. Every time
and
you put one of those in.
maybe I'm tired, but the Grogu moments felt like, oh, I know what these fucking idiots like. I know how to make these idiots happy. Like when he snuggles up to the Rancor, I was like, that's just stupid. And then at the end, when he asked to go like hyperspace again, I was I don't know, like it's just enough. Maybe
They've been played out. And they've done that.
is Grogu played out? I
They're
don't
gonna
know. Maybe
overdo it. Yeah,
No.
I think they're going to overdo it. The less is
No,
more
they're not.
thing, because it's like the whole thing when Seinfeld, quit the show. Their number one show on TV. It's like you leave your audience wanting more. You
Yeah.
can't keep going back to the well, because otherwise it gets old and tired. You want people to be like, I didn't get enough of that.
How would you guys feel if Mace Windu had showed up at the end of this episode?
Looking great.
No, that would be dumb.
No,
Right?
but-
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. Finally,
Would it be better or worse? It would
finally.
be par for the course.
No, there at least would have been something to look forward to. Instead, I have absolutely nothing to look forward to.
Right. What we got is worse than dumb, but that would be dumb. Like what we got, I told you, what we got was irrelevant. Like it's boring. It's like you can't recommend it to you. You go, well, I mean, it's not as bad as people say. Yeah, I'm looking forward to spending 8 hours of my life with that. Like there's so much TV and good entertainment out there, and you spend a year, hyping, hey, we got a thing coming, and then you got the thing coming, and it's like, alrighty. Like I mean,
And Rob, you were looking forward to the Rancor scene. I remember that.
yes, since Jason mentioned it, like God knows how
what
long
made you
ago.
change your mind?
Huh?
Just the way it was presented.
Yeah,
What made you change?
When he saw it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was the
like the way it was
When
presented.
he saw it, yeah.
Wait, what? I can't.
Yeah,
I can't hear you.
The Rancor wasn't used in any meaningful manner. There was no there was no staging. There's no point to the fight. Like okay, first off, how did he get the Rancor? He flew back to the palace, took it out, right? No Danny Trejo, never learned how. We don't know when he learned to ride this thing. Rides it all the way there. I don't know. I don't know how long that took. And then it throws some stuff at, like when he was why didn't he just constantly rip the legs out? Just rip the arms out, and he's standing there kind of like smacking it.
Fire.
And it's like, yeah, he's getting shot. Just kill these things. But I'm like, oh, they only have 2 of these droids. That's why they're dragging this shit out. Because should be a pretty easy fight. Like, I mean, once you get past the whole get the shield thing, just grab them, rip their stuff out, done. Right? This isn't a big deal. But
No, all you needed was a little bit of fire, just a wrist amount of fire, or that you can keep on your wrists, and then that the Rancor goes away completely.
It's also a problem I have with the Return of the Jedi when you see Luke walk into the Jabba's palace, force choking Gamorreans, and then he ends up in the pit with the Rancor, and I'm like, just choke his ass. Just choke him, Luke. Just like since day one, I'm like, just choke him. You just showed you had the power to choke people with the Force. Choke his ass. And he's like, nope, gonna stand here and put a bone in his mouth. Like, all right, guys, I know Jason's like doesn't like it, but like it's like that little stuff adds up, right? So if it's 1 or 2 things, you're like, all right, but here, okay, like to bring back Return of the Jedi, Chewbacca with the Tarzan thing. Now we got a King Kong reference. I'm like, well, if they're not going to kill the Rancor, I guess it's just to throw in a 1930s serial. Look, we got the King Kong reference. Like, it's not like the worst thing I've ever seen. It's just corny, stupid shit. Like, okay, wonderful. I mean,
do you think with Grogu, like in his like little like shirt pocket here, do you think Din goes in there and there's like a bill for like $450 for accrued expenses while Grogu was staying with Luke?
Yeah.
You think he charged him? 'Cause I think he should have.
It was weird as those Nightwind guys, show up in the first episode. Don't do well, but the whatever they say. I know.
I'm kidding. You're right. I'm just joking.
But they're like he easily could have just hired a bunch of Nightwind assassins to help him fight. I mean, anything. Like, I mean, the most pathetic group of people show up. It's one speeder with 6 Cousin Eddies. You know what I mean? Show up with the rifles they have attached. Remember in that old West game in Adventureland, right? That you can like fire the electronic rifles like these. I'm like, what, you gonna eat your musket powder too and shove it down the barrel?
And Rob, in Paper Moon, the main character literally wrestles Cousin Eddie. Like literally does it.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, like literally.
I forgot.
Just
It's
to
been
throw
a
it out.
while.
Shitter's full, Grogu.
That would have been funny. That would have been funny. I would have laughed at that. But you have all these kids who have like robot parts, and none of them thought to like, I don't know, like get like a chainsaw put in their arm or a flamethrower. And what's with I said it before, but man, the spin and shoot thing needs to go away. All right, look, I'm gonna spin and then I'm gonna shoot. Like,
I wanted to bring this up.
No,
Rob,
kick the damn rabbit. Just fuck.
Hold on. I think that a lot of those shots are in there because they're setting the precedent for the Mandalore battle type stuff with the jetpacks. I think that they purposefully put in a bunch of those jetpack spin and shoot shots because we're gonna see a lot of that coming up.
Oh my
The
god!
mods were
we're
doing
gonna see more
the
of
spin and
that.
shoot.
That's
The
just my
mod
opinion.
guy,
That's just my opinion. That's just my opinion.
Johnny, the mod guy
Yeah.
did the spin and shoot.
Oh, the mod
Yeah.
guy. Yeah, I just mean those jetpack spin and shoot shots that are in there too with Mando and Boba.
Well, you know what? If you're right, Johnny, they shouldn't do it because it doesn't work. It
Yeah.
looks clunky
Yeah.
and awkward, and it doesn't flow.
Well, I don't know. I'm just saying that's how they
Yeah.
were fighting. So
No.
Yeah.
I mean, ultimately, the show's biggest problem is that it didn't have the budget to do what it wanted to do. It wanted to tell this big, grandiose, epic story, but it
Really?
wanted to do it on a small scale. Because, yeah, they're like, oh, now that we have enough muscle, and they had 2 guys.
Yeah,
I mean,
then
that's
you know how you do that?
stupid.
But James,
That's
you know how
dumb.
you get away with that? If you're going to invoke the 70s, you invoke Assault on Precinct 13 and John Carpenter. You have them holed up in the Jabba's palace,
Yep.
under siege by all this stuff. You know what I mean? And
Mhm.
like you do that whole we're trapped and pinned in the cave with the monster. And you know, you get some talented people to figure out a fun, adventurous way to get out of it.
well, Rob, I
believe-
can see. I can see.
believe
Hold on,
Rob
I can
is
see.
referencing a movie called Young Guns.
Okay,
That's how you
I
get
can
that.
see creatives coming into this. I can see creatives coming into this, going like we need Star Wars to not be so small. We need to have this grandiose sort of
Yeah, but
thing, right?
the
People
problem
complain about.
is-
Hold on, people complain about it all the time.
Yeah,
But when
yeah.
we need the story to be small, it can't be small because of maybe. So I don't know that if this is like a creative issue with the people that are creating the show, or it's a reactionary sort of creative decision. This is how people feel in the Star Wars community right now, and we're gonna make this based off of that, with having a more grandiose, open galaxy and not just keeping it on Tatooine. But we kind of needed it to be more of the small, just on Tatooine, right?
Well, if you're going to say that he's running a criminal organization formerly run by Jabba the Hutt, and you just show him and Fennec Shan running the entire organization, that is dumb. So if you can't afford to put
It can't
the
be galactic
menagerie in
at
the
that point.
palace and to have the other muscle there and to show a
gotta-
legit criminal
exactly, it's gotta-
organization and not 2 people that are like, oh, we're outgunned, and they hire 2 more and say, yeah, now we've got the muscle because we've got 4 people. That's just dumb. And if that's all you can do, then don't do that story. Or do it in a way that you're not showing. Like if they had just intercut this storyline into Mando season 3, and Mando shows up and hey, we got this thing going down in Tatooine, and they could just kind of intercut here and there. But to tell a whole story of it like that,
I mean, I did feel
this is not the way to do it. This.
I
it
felt
looks
that they
dumb.
were outnumbered, though. I felt that they were outnumbered. It was,
Yeah, I felt that they were number 2 because there were 4 people. I mean, when they started the battle, that was their
When
muscle. 4 people and some scooter kids.
When they were in the building,
It's
I was glad we didn't
silly.
sit there too long because it started to feel like that episode from Mandalorian, I think season 1, where they're in the room
When
with
they were holed up in the
Cara Dune.
building.
It started.
Yeah,
It was the same place even. Like it was
Yeah.
literally like the same place even, and I was like, oh no.
They didn't.
Yeah,
even
they
men-
could have
didn't
done like a
even
Home
mention
Alone
the,
thing.
They didn't even mention the cantina being blown up, but they were held up in there the whole time, right?
Yeah.
Did they mention the cantina being blown up and
They just moved
Jessica
on.
Biel
Yeah.
or whatever?
Yeah, they
Well, yeah, at the very
That
beginning,
beautiful
that's
soul
what
left.
they're
The
talking
beautiful
about.
soul left Star Wars. I mean, you didn't hear anything about it.
Yeah.
Oh, what if they stepped on her skull or something? You know,
there
what
were
I
no
mean?
dead
Oh,
bodies in there.
Yeah, no dead bodies.
That's even better.
No
than
dead
yeah,
droid
Max
parts.
actually brought that up when we were watching it. Max brought that up. She's like, "There's no dead bodies in this place. It's just like an empty thing." And is
Is
that
it?
I don't know enough about this, so is that a rating thing that maybe they just didn't?
No, Chrysanthemum ate them.
Yeah.
Say.
Okay. Yeah. So.
Can I just say the thing that pissed
So
me
he
off?
ate them.
Yeah.
The thing that pissed me off the most about this episode was a few things, but the main thing was when we're in
You
that
cut out. You cut out.
scene.
Dude.
What we're talking about right now. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
kind of cutting out though.
Yeah.
Jace?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. When Boba and Mando are talking, and then Boba says to Mando, "Are you ready to die?" And then Mando says, "This is the way." And then the theme song plays. That got me going. I got excited about that. And then they turn to that clown, and he's trying to be funny. I'm like, this is a good moment, and they fuck it up with that comedy shit. Like that really pissed me off. Excuse my language, but
No.
anyone else feel the same way?
Oh no,
100%.
exactly. Yeah, and and like when they decided to do the move where he writes something on the ledger or whatever.
Yeah.
Do you remember when he wrote a lot of formality? It was like a lot of bullshit. I was like, why are you trying to write that? But I'm okay with that. But
Why
I
did
mean,
they
but in
laugh?
that kind of scene, it needs to be like suck my dick, and you can't do that in this kind of show. So like, I don't know why they did it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I've seen when Mando was like, "Are you prepared to die?" And then Mando says, Boba says to Mando, "Are you prepared to die?" And then Mando's like, "This is the way." And then the theme song plays in the background. Like, I got excited, like I'm like pumped. I was G'd up to go. And then we turned to that clown, and it's just like it didn't work for me.
Yeah.
At the end, when they all were chuckling one another, I kept waiting for the theme to Family Matters to start playing. Right? Whatever happened to the Mandalorian? The Black Chrysanthemum, the Mathberry droid, and all the fucking plot. I'm like, just have him jump in the air and freeze frame it, right?
We gotta record a Rob version of one of these.
Everywhere you shoot, there's a rancor and some shit right behind you, but no one's really hurt because all the body's gonna disappear. It's just no feelings gonna hurt. All right, man.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Wonder what that guy at
dude,
Lucasfilm thinks about that.
Jedi, I have to completely agree with Jedi Cowboy on this. And the thing Marvel has done with their shows is they are a different writing crew and a different tone on every show they've released so far. You got to stop with these same people. The Mando, they apparently, Favreau and Filoni know the Mando tone because when the Mando shows up, they know it. Then you need a different crew for the Boba stuff and a different crew for the Andor stuff and a different crew. It doesn't carry over. If you treat this like Lucasfilm animation, I know you guys are all a serious fan of it. I'm not a fan of the Lucasfilm animation. It's very drawn out. It has some really cool ideas, but it takes 15 episodes to get anywhere with it. And so that's what it felt like. It felt like the Rob, 8 episodes of the Bad Batch.
But Rob, they got Robert Rodriguez to do Boba Fett.
Look, and something?
If you and I, if someone had come to us and said, "Hey, Robert Rodriguez is doing a Boba Fett show,"
wait,
both of us would
James,
be like,
James, James, did you think it was Robert Rodriguez? That was Ricky Rodriguez, different guy. No, that was just a guy. That was their friend Ricky Rodriguez. Yeah,
he's that guy who bailed out Rittenhouse, isn't he? All right.
Oh no.
He is. Yeah, he is.
Wow.
Yeah, I hate that guy.
Yeah, fuck Rittenhouse. Yeah, exactly. Fuck Rittenhouse.
But
they got Robert Rodriguez in there, so you can't say it's the same guys. It wasn't Favreau and Filoni. They got Rodriguez in there. So
but Favreau wrote it.
What the fuck did
in TV, generally, if you have one person writing the series, that's really the showrunner. If you have multiple writers, like a writer's room with multiple credits, okay, then there's a showrunner and a writer's room. But Favreau wrote everything, so technically, it's like Ghost. It's almost like when Lucas says he didn't direct Jedi and Mark 1 did, but really Lucas sort of running everything. You know what I mean? And it's this weird hybrid.
Here's the difference. Lucas is coming up with the prequels whole cloth, right? With this, it's Favreau, Filoni, and Rodriguez probably sitting in a room, coming up with ideas, and Favreau says, "I'm going to go write this thing." So it's not like Favreau wrote it in a vacuum. He came to them and said, "Hey, surprise, I got these 7 shows that we're going to do about Boba Fett," and threw it on their desk. That conversation was had before Favreau wrote it. So they had their input into it, I'm sure.
I'm equally blaming Robert Rodriguez and Favreau. I'm blaming all of them.
Saying, all 3 of them suck in this particular instance.
But the majority of the crew behind the scenes is the same Mando crew. It's been pretty well established. And what I'm saying is you need Loki can't look and feel like Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Yeah. And those two can't look and feel like Hawkeye. And Image Comics went through this. Jim Valentino, right, took over publishing. You don't know who Jim Valentino was. He's one of the founding members of Image Comics. He took over as publisher.
I know he's my
in
dad.
the early 2000s. The reason why, what he did was they had all these pinup books. They got rid of them, and he diversified. They call it sport shirts, but they diversified their lineup so that if you didn't like this, you would like that. But versus only coming to them to get the one thing, the big pinup book. They diversified to it's how you ended up with The Walking Dead. The Walking Dead never would have showed up as a comic book and Image in 1997 because they were only doing one thing. Right. And right now we're getting one specific thing like, hey, we had a win, so just get more of that.
So the question then is, where was Robert Rodriguez's voice in all this? Was he just a
Nope.
guy that just came in late into the picture and they said, "Hey, direct these episodes for us"? Did he have any creative input on this thing? Because they made it sound like that certainly in the beginning.
Dude,
So
he
either
said
they
it
oversold
over
Robert
delivered.
Rodriguez.
He said it
Full
over
filler,
to
no filler, right?
He's a good company guy.
Yeah,
You know, he's a good company man, that's for certain. And I know because I got
Good
called an
actor.
R word by an executive for saying it feels like
There
they're
it
hiding
goes.
his ability to do
There it
anything on
is.
this show.
He's
You
obsessed.
know, like I
No,
know.
but but it wasn't about his ability. It was about whether this was his show or not, whether he was actually like
yeah.
leading. And the answer, I mean, is he did. I mean, it's the story elements are Favreau's fault, and the directing, I mean, no matter who directed the episode, was Rodriguez's fault. That's what it comes
Yeah.
down to.
So,
Or
like,
And I
if
love
you
Battle
loved it,
Angel.
if you loved it, that's who you think. You think Robert
And I love
Rodriguez.
Battle Angel, so I'm not like a
I'm just so happy.
sorry, Chris, go ahead.
Oh. I was just saying, I'm just so happy that we're getting, a new voice for Kenobi.
Yeah.
Something
Yeah.
different, and I'm really excited.
Oh,
about
somebody else is doing his voice, Chris?
He's being funny, but no, I agree with Chris. Like we're getting new voices, and that's the first thing I asked Jason when he was first talking about Kenobi. I'm like, when they showed off that initial trailer, I'm like, hey, other people are writing this, right? Like it's not the same group of people. I'm still excited for Mando season 3. I think they know the tone of that character and what they want to do with that, but I'm just glad that between then and now we're going to get Kenobi and Andor, and it has to wash whatever this is. We'll just go, well, it was whatever, but they can't keep doing this. Like
No, you can't let them get away with here's 8 episodes and 2 of them are good. That's
I mean, at the same time, I mean, you make it, and then you make what you made, and that's what they made.
We have to speak about it to be critical because we have to be part of.
Sure, yeah, we don't.
Of what this,
but there's nothing we can do about
it,
it, Johnny. We can't. There's nothing we can do about it if they make.
No, all we can do
content.
is hope to be. All we can do is to be, critical of it publicly. And not be like hateful, and then hope that somehow has a play in the public consciousness. That's basically it.
Yeah. Well, and Favreau talked about that whole relationship between the fans and the creators and stuff like that. But I mean, the flip side of what he says is that the fans are not creators. They can sit there and say, I want this, I want that. But it's not that easy to do this stuff, and so a lot of times the fans, in saying what they say, there's no grounds in reality whatsoever to what they're saying in terms of storytelling or even just the practicalities of production. So you got to ignore the fans to a very large extent.
Today, I did a story just talking about the 3 people who are playing Darth Vader and Obi-Wan Kenobi. And I actually felt mostly yelled at by people that were mad that Hayden Christensen isn't in the suit, like doing the sword fighting. And I'm just like,
yo, fuck Jason Ward, fuck Jason Ward.
No, and then Bestman Bulletin did a big story about Homeboy playing the Grand Inquisitor. And then all these people were mad that it's not the guy from Rebels, and like I felt like he was getting yelled at. And I'm just like,
Star Wars leaks.
That's a good
Star Wars leaks.
Yeah,
Star Wars leaks.
Yeah, toxic positivity. Star Wars.
Yeah, no, the fans can be dumb sometimes. They have to acknowledge that sometimes the fans need to understand that they don't know what they don't know. And so, you hear a lot of this stuff in the past, and people say all this nonsense, and a lot of times it's just complete nonsense. That
right. But when I hear anyone in charge of something tell me, well, you can't listen to the fans to direct where you're going. I agree. So I want to know, when you came in that room, what were you so passionate about? What was your take? What was your hit? When you were like, Boba Fett, it's going to be this. It's going to be Lawrence of Arabia for a couple episodes, and Boba's. The show should have been called The Tribe of Boba Fett. It was going to be about all these other characters, and him building a new tribe or something. Like, I just want to know what was his specific passion? Like the whole reason, the impetus for doing it. I forget I'm not caring what anyone else. I'm looking at what they wrote and figuring out.
Well, they
What were
didn't
you
even
so
give the
excited about?
Yeah, they didn't even get the fans what they wanted. I mean, if they
And-
gave the fans what they wanted, Boss would have been showing up. Cad Bane would have been.
Yeah,
I mean,
Correct.
that's what I'm saying. Like if you
I would've-
whiteboard
Yeah.
a Boba Fett show, bringing back all the like here, Boba Fett ran out of people. I need the trusted. Okay, we don't have a large budget. We can't do a 100-man versus 100-man battle. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hire all my old friends who are super skilled. And it's the old, it's Unforgiven, but with the A team, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like I'm gonna get the really skilled guys, and we can take out a bunch of droids and old armor dudes and all this stuff, right? And like then there you go. And then people can say, well, they're playing on fan service, but at least that would make logical sense for the character, and you could be invoking cinematic Hollywood tropes that have inspired Star Wars to some extent. Go ahead, Chris.
Well,
you want
Rob,
to say something?
well, Rob, if ILM comes to you and they give you that pitch and they go, "Here's what you can do with this," in my opinion, what starts to happen very quickly is I go, "Wow, I can't do much with this. Maybe this shouldn't exist. We can't do anything with this. There's a small amount of money."
We don't know if they had a small amount of money. We actually have no idea.
Wait, what? I
Yeah,
mean,
They
you
didn't
can
have
spend.
They didn't have a small amount of money.
Let me give you. They spent
$190
$190 million on a Matrix film, and it looked like a TV show. So,
Yeah.
and what you do with putting your money on screen is, it was not. This is not something they didn't have money for. It's the execution. It's not. They had money. So, but there's so many things. Like when you're like, oh, Boba Fett. Oh, his father, Django, the clones. Bounty hunters. All these things you could do, and none of it. And it's like, hey, I know. Let's get the chicken in Mos Eisley to be in a rickshaw and do like a 3-minute sequence where where we're spoofing a scene from Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. Now I love the Temple of Doom. I'm the one to, but like, whoa! Remember when he's like hits him on the car and the rickshaw guy goes up in the air?
Rob, would you eat the monkey brain? Would you try it?
no, the opening scene to Temple is the best scene of all time.
Please say no.
They were all under the voodoo curse at that point. All right,
Yeah, but I'm just asking if you'd try it. I'd try it.
No, because I'm not under a voodoo curse. They were
I
eating
am.
the parts of others because they were all under the voodoo curse. Like,
I am. Does the goth girl want to be my girlfriend? All right, never mind.
Hey, look,
I was just trying.
all I know
was just
now is fishnet stockings are a normal thing in Star Wars. So I mean, I just
Man.
thought that was a Twi'lek slave thing, but
No,
You know,
that's Filoni. But yeah, no, I'm just joking.
Yeah, that one.
But
This is
Yeah.
to Mando what that LeBlanc spinoff of Married with Children was to Married with Children.
the Fanucci's.
Yeah, it's basically just a sad footnote of a much better show.
The Fettucci plan.
Fettuccine.
This is the Fettucci plan. Fennec, and Fennig plan. There's something there, but yeah, I know what you're talking about. It wasn't a good episode. Season 5. Season 5 was the jump, the not so good season for Maritone.
Yeah,
Kinda
this was like
downhill
a
from there.
thought about a show that they made into another show. It wasn't like it wasn't like you talk about who's passionate about it. It was just like a footnote on a show they were working on that they were passionate about, and they decided to, hey, let's do a spinoff.
it was too many. It was too many. It was too many ideas. Like if they wanted to do the Boba in the wilderness with the Tuscans thing, I didn't really want 7 episodes of that, but going deeper on that kind of story, because in the end, like it's here, then it's there. It's just kind of like the
especially if that tribe
Boba's-
was nomadic.
Boba
Jason,
with
if
this,
that tribe,
yeah.
if that tribe's nomadic, then we could have gone around the whole planet of Tatooine. We could have seen parts of Tatooine we've never been to. The North Poles, the South Poles, the West Poles, the East Poles. We could have been all over versus this small little area. We've all seen a million times. So yeah.
And the real question that none of you stupid motherfuckers have been asking this whole time is, where the fuck was Watto? Tell me that. Where was he?
I said he should have been the mayor. Remember?
Alive. Yeah.
You are right.
Remember? I did. I said he should have been the mayor.
That's why you're here every day, Rob. That's why you're here every day.
Hey, RoboCop. Come on, guy. I'm the only one.
Rob.
Wait, just
Robo
when
Rob.
they steal that for that show 2 days from now, and Jason goes, they're listening to the show. Yeah, you'll see it.
Yeah, if it shows up with a holster in his leg, I'm gonna be like, son of a bitch.
If we go back in time to early December, of last year, and all 6 of us are talking, how many would say we would see at least one OG bounty hunter? Dengar, Bosk, we all would agree that we would see one in the show, right? At least one.
yeah.
At
Yeah.
least one.
Yeah.
And we couldn't even get that. It's just really, really disappointing.
I thought Aura Singh would have been a good callback to something, you know.
She's dead.
Shapeshifters.
She's
no,
She's dead.
if it didn't happen in live action, it doesn't really count.
Wait, you
right?
said it did.
No,
It did. It happened in
happened.
Solo: A Star Wars Story.
Okay, but she got it's her twin sister, Karma Singh.
But you're
Right,
talking.
because
But you're
Aura
not
is
thinking
Karma.
of Aura
What?
Singh. You're thinking of the shapeshifter, right? You're
No.
you're thinking of Zam
I was thinking about
Westfall?
the one in Mos Espa in Phantom Menace. The
Okay,
walker.
I thought you said
Yeah.
shapeshifter.
Yeah. And then I said you could have brought a shapeshifter, not the one that
Yeah.
died, but some callbacks. I mean, look, we got nifty, prequel callbacks in this, but it's like, okay, there's a droid. By now, certainly the universe knows somewhere there's a droid control ship. Like who's got the remote? To shoot the guy with the remote. It has to be within vicinity. It's not off planet. It's somewhere nearby. Fennec could have been going after the guy with the remote and then turned the things around. I don't know, something.
Yeah, what was that
Yeah.
sequel trilogy callback that viewer Anon was talking about
Nothing.
in
Yeah,
the
I
last
didn't
episode?
see
Do we
that.
know what that was? Because that was some sort of like built up thing.
It was bad, like Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, no, well, like like what
I
what
mean,
was the
Only correlation I'm
was the
drawing.
like people were going crazy with it, like it's gonna be Snoke. Snoke's ship is gonna show up. Like
Maybe Smoke was one of the mods. Maybe. Oh, there you go. Cobb Vanth
no,
Snoke.
that's it. Jason leaving is the that's the sequel trilogy thing.
He's had enough of this.
Now
It kicked us off again.
Oh no,
What it does all the time.
man! I was just making the best point ever too.
Yeah,
God
go ahead.
damn, what the hell?
Yeah.
As soon as I came into power.
I'm trying to add Max back, but it's being a jerk. Okay.
Yeah, Murph, I'm aware Zam died. I was saying the race, not so much
Yeah.
Zam. Just
You know,
Yeah.
and
No,
if-
you didn't.
if
You didn't
Star
know that.
Wars
You
stayed
didn't know
dead,
that. You had no idea.
Are we back on live?
Yeah.
we are.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. The
and why didn't they give us one more flashback of him looking at his dad flying away? I mean,
No.
I was missing.
Yeah.
That's my favorite part. What? Being a dick, but yeah, I know. I get it. It's the whole
It's
dad
too
goes
soon,
away
Rob.
thing. Jason
Too
made the good
soon.
call that it's like, well, it's supposed to mirror what's going on with Mando and Yoda to, I guess, to Grogu to an extent, but Grogu just comes
Does it,
back.
though?
So
Does it, though? I don't know.
It's
Yeah.
Is this like
Nah,
Macbeth? Is this like Macbeth now? Can we stop with
Classic.
that one?
no,
Just like it.
yeah,
100
it's
years from
not.
now, people still watching Book of Boba.
it's not like Macbeth. It's not. It was like actually like to go back to the whiteboard idea. It was only a whiteboard idea. It was just a bunch of whiteboard ideas. As a matter of fact, it was how many ideas from the whiteboard can we put on the fucking White Boy show? I don't know.
Hold on.
It's a
I kinda
whiteboard
want-
show, not White Boy show.
I want to ask, what did everybody, now that it's done, what did everybody here on the panel think Boba Fett was going to be? What was in your mind?
I said it was going to be bad.
No, that's not what I'm talking. Let's put like what in your mind. What would Boba Fett have been?
Well, I thought what we saw in The Mandalorian with him picking up,
Correct.
that's what we're going to see. I didn't know that he was going to go back and like have like a rebirth and stuff like that.
Yeah, what Max just hit on there is perfect. Like, if you were to daydream about Book of Boba Fett before it came out, what would it have been for you?
For me, it would have been back when he was working for Jabba, like pre A New Hope. That's the interesting storyline for Boba. Boba as a bounty hunter. Star Wars is all about archetypes. Boba Fett is the bounty hunter archetype. You totally took him out of that archetype and you made him something completely different, which is fine if you want to do the transformation story, but you got to do the setup before you do that. And I said that from day one when we got the first episode of this, is they never set up who Boba Fett was before he went into that Sarlacc. You're just supposed to assume who he was. Had they shown Even if they the first, say you got a structure, you got 7 episodes, you get the first 2 episodes of Boba Fett pre-Sarlacc, then you get 4 episodes where you show him going through his transformation, coming out of the Sarlacc, going back to, Mos Eisley or Mos Espa as a changed guy, and then the final 2 episodes, him taking over Jabba's crime syndicate. That's a story structure and that you can hang stuff on. This is just nonsense. So yeah, that's what I would have done.
Yeah, I thought it was going to go more towards like like in The Godfather, where they're trying to like take the family straight, so to speak, and like be like on the up and up, which they even kind of like comment on. And then I thought he was going to play it, and then at one point they were going to test his patience, and we were going to get Joe Pesci level of rage coming out of like, oh, here it is. And then instead it was very much like, oh, well, now I'm mad. Before I wasn't mad, now I'm mad. It was just they told me. They didn't show me. They just fucking told me. And then he puts the helmet on, and yes, and then the best gags were in The Mandalorian. It was like a really good dating profile. And then once you actually like went on the second date, it was just not even more the same. That was all of his tricks in the first on the first date there. So I don't think and I was trying to stick up for him. I was thinking that, because like he like directed, they all direct on the episodes together and stuff. That's not like it's like a team effort to some extent. But looking at it, whenever it was an episode with just him, it was fairly awful. And when it was an episode of him collaborating with somebody where they were the primary director, it was okay. And so yeah. I don't know. I just don't think I'm a Robert Rodriguez Star Wars fan. I don't think he makes good Star Wars in the end.
And there's an interview there's an interview just came out with him not that long ago where he was talking about like how he doesn't want to do franchise because there's no upside to it, because all you just run the risk of having assholes like us criticize you and tell you how shitty you are. I'm pretty sure he's going to be like, yeah, don't want to do this shit. I'm out. So you'll never see Robert Rodriguez touch Star Wars again after this, unless it's one of those things that he feels he needs to redeem himself, like Joel Schumacher and Batman, where it's like,
leaking it.
Yeah, I agree. This sucked, and I can do better.
Oh no, you said it. Go ahead, Rob.
Yeah. I'm not wanting to take a job because you don't want to be criticized. You make entertainment. Your job is to entertain people. So like,
but you can
there
do
are
that
other jobs he can do. He could just be a producer and never film and direct anything ever again. Bryce Dallas Howard got a 50-50 review on her first episode of The Mando, and everyone now is like, give her a fucking movie. So you could also just show up and fucking prove people wrong, unless he feels like he has nothing left to prove. I don't know. Because I haven't heard, other than him saying it over delivers, I haven't heard him talk about.
Obviously, you're an artist.
Overwhelmingly,
you know what it's like to work
I do know
in
what
the
it's like.
confines of a structure of a certain franchise. Why do that? Why confine yourself to a franchise when you can do whatever the fuck you want if you do your own franchise?
Look, you don't always get to work on what you want to work on in life, right? So sometimes you get handed something, you got to take it, because at the end of the day, you got bills to pay too. Now, if I got handed something, hold on. Yeah, everyone has bills to pay. So
I'm working on me.
So
but Robert Rodriguez
can I finish what I'm saying? I get it. Okay. So what I'm trying to say is, if you get handed a script and you're like, not my thing, but here's this whole fight sequence, here's this part, and even if you're not into the characters, you can make the most out of a little thing. You can find a way into something that you're like, oh, here's the thing where I'm really gonna fucking hook this up. He was always known as a guy who could do some cool over the top action stuff. So his time to shine really was a limited space battle with a giant rancor and droids and dudes in armor. And he just failed at that. Like that isn't Star Wars' fault or fans' fault for complaining. That's him just not showing up. And I mean, like,
I'm not saying it's not his fault, but when people say, well, why doesn't this guy do Star Wars? Why doesn't this guy do Star Wars? Well, a lot of it is because they don't want this nonsense. They don't get that on their shit.
Did you not see the reviews for Sin City 2? He gets it on his shit.
Right, but not as bad. Like, case in point, like Howard the Duck. George Lucas did not want his name put on there. He told Universal, do not put my name on this movie. It's going to get 10 times the hate if my name is on the movie. And it did. had it just we would have Howard the Duck would have been a footnote in cinematic history. It would have been like Hudson Hawk. People would have been like, who?
Oh, I love Hudson
since
Hawk.
George Lucas was involved with Howard the Duck, that shit ain't going away.
Well, I have to say, I thought that Robert Rodriguez's episode of The Mandalorian looked like a fan film filmed outside in somebody's backyard in California.
Yeah.
And it looked awful, but it had good story to it and the good Boba moments. So I thought, well, it's not up to my preference. But what we actually got was a whole series of that at the end of the day. So, well, now I feel like now we know what Robert Rodriguez Star Wars looks like. And I hope that's it. Because I just don't.
Yeah, I'd like to.
Johnny,
I don't say going anywhere.
Johnny Tance.
What?
Sorry.
What?
I was just going to answer your question, what we wanted in the show. Basically, whatever Max said, I wanted Boba to kick ass and clean up the streets of Tatooine, and we didn't get that. So I'm just answering his question.
Okay, sorry.
All good.
I mean, it sounds hyperbolic, but honestly, the caper elements of My Blue Heaven were more criminal and well thought out than this show. I mean,
Great movie,
really,
though.
like a
Great movie, though.
Yeah, I love that movie. Anytime I feel nostalgic for my hometown, I just put that one in. I get 90 San Diego, and I get to see Rick Moranis actually kick a dude's ass, right? Like, which you don't normally get to see Rick Moranis be the tough guy. So, but what I'm saying is like that's a comedy, like a comedy version of Goodfellas that has a more logical criminal element. A bunch of guys in the witness protectness program all get stuck in the same town full of yuppies and decide to like take advantage of everyone's generosity to rip them off. Like there you go. There's no criminal story to this. Like that. I just hope that they don't kill Cad Bane because that's a character that should be utilized again.
I think he's dead, man.
James says, wonder which show Han Solo will be in that was rumored. There's no show coming up that would make sense unless it's for Mando season 3. James, I don't think it's true. I don't think it's true. I think it's either just completely bullshit, which is the most likely scenario at this point. I mean, there was a lot of bullshit with this, wasn't there? Like I said, I didn't track the show hard, so I just said, okay, I'm going to listen to everybody else on this one, and I got burned over and over again. So I won't be listening to anybody but me and Bester Bulletin, and for the most part. And but if we want to pretend, if we want to give hope to humanity and pretend like it wasn't just bullshit, then it was just Indiana Jones stuff once again, and people thinking that Indiana Jones is Star Wars just because. Right? That's the most we can give it.
Yeah.
Because there was no Maz Kanata's castle, there was no Han Solo, Boss, Zuckus, Forlom, Darth Vader, Dengar,
Amelia Clark,
Han Solo, Chewbacca, Princess Leia.
No Mace Windu.
No Ewoks.
No Ewoks.
You know how excited I was to get some murderous Ewoks? Like if you got stuck with the ragtag dudes, and you got like some old Ewok bounty hunters, like. And
once again, Ming-Na Wen could have just said we were joking about the Ewoks guys on Twitter. We would have been like, "Oh, you fuckers." That would have been it. Instead, it was like a thing for no reason. They thought, "Oh, they're going down the wrong path. Those fools will never figure this show out. It's too smart for them." It's like, what are you doing? You fucking assholes.
What would you do if well,
stupid?
I know what you would do.
Yeah, you know what I'd do. The wrong thing.
No.
What about all the clones? The clone faces
I was just
having.
Oh yeah, Rex, Cody.
Yeah.
What's
Bad Batch?
I'll never forget the first episode podcast. I was like, yeah, it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah.
What were we gonna say, Max?
Nothing.
Sorry, Max. Did I cut you off?
No. I know what y'all are gonna say. I'm not gonna ask.
Say it, Max. Ask it, Max. Ask it.
No, I'm not going to.
I'm going to say the opposite of whatever I would say, so that way I don't disappoint you.
Shit, whatever. No, you're not.
I am.
No, what? Okay, so what would you do if they actually say we're going to make a season 2?
Get a back tattoo.
Wrath of Khan. That's my advice to them. They need a Wrath of Khan. This.
Would you watch it? Just out of shit
They
and
need-
giggles, would you watch it?
I feel
Would
like
you
if they were to do
What
it, then
is
it has to be
that?
like day one. Well, we did it, and then day two. Oh no, you didn't, and all of the space games come down and they
No,
kill
would you-
everybody,
would
and
you
the
watch it?
mods are all pregnant. They're all having babies now, and they can't fight.
Would
Yeah,
you watch
little robot battle droids, babies. You thought Baby Yoda was cute? Have you seen their baby battle droid? Fuck, you guys are gonna see some cute shit.
But we have to watch it, Max. We do a Star Wars podcast.
Yeah.
We're stuck watching this. Like, if I wasn't
Well, I
on this
asked
show,
you-
would I watch this? No, I wouldn't. I would wait and hear. What's the vibe out there? It's great. If it isn't, I seriously, I never watched the Clone Wars. I look. Only time I watched that Clone Wars movie for about 3
Why are you
seconds and
yelling
got
at
out.
me?
Oh no, I'm not. It's sorry.
I'm just
I
kidding.
got
I'm
out of
kidding.
the.
I'm
I
kidding.
can't tell. It's Johnny got me all worked up.
Yeah.
I know.
My fault. Yeah.
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
If you're saying no, you would watch it or wouldn't watch it, I'm telling you, I didn't watch Rebels. I didn't watch any of the Clone Wars stuff beyond when I worked on the shirts. I went back to watch Clone Wars and they told me don't. So
Well, is that
I'm not
me?
interested in that stuff. Now,
Yeah.
when they do put characters in the live action, when Ahsoka comes on, I'm like, hey, this is actually pretty cool. Hey, Cad Bane's pretty cool. All right, now it's like I got more interest to go back and watch those things,
Yeah.
And so if I hear that, if I wasn't on this show, I would be waiting to hear what the vibe of Boba Fett was before I stuck around sitting through it, because what's the point? Like, I just feel like there's so much great content to watch. There's 4 seasons of Attack on Titan I could watch if I wanted to. There's Ozark season 1 through 4 I could go watch. There's so many great things to watch. Why spend our time watching something that's mediocre, even if it has a really shiny label on there with our favorite thing? You know what I mean? Like, I'll get back to it because
It's gonna stop. The hyper on Star Wars is gonna stop.
Well, eventually,
Well,
if they keep fucking up.
It's gonna stop. It happens.
Yeah. That was one of the worst things about Rogue One is that, I wasn't on board with Force Awakens. I wasn't on board with Disney owning Lucasfilm. And then Rogue One comes out and it's like, we can still get good Star Wars. It is possible under the Disney banner for someone to do something good and meaningful with the Star Wars franchise. And the worst thing that movie could, they talk about hope. That movie gave me hope. And so, and more often than not, since then, I've been disappointed. But I
not
do
just that
still hold
movie,
on to hope.
James, but the book Catalyst was
It
excellent.
was great. Yep.
It's the
Nice
one
meeting.
time when I say a book set up a film. So when you walk into that, if you finish that book, listen to the audio novel, it's great, whatever. Walk into that film. I mean, I was excited in a way I didn't expect. I'm like, whoa, we're really picking up where that book left off. So it paid for the first time to actually, like, when you see the flashback sequences in Rogue One, you're seeing scenes from the book when they're in the apartment talking to Krennic. Those are actual scenes. It's the only time we've ever really seen Coruscant as well in the new era. We've never gone back, right? Like, keep hearing about it.
Oh, they mentioned it today, so
Yeah,
They did. Yeah.
yeah,
That's what we got.
wonderful.
Yeah.
No,
Kenobi is going to make Kenobi's going to be really, really solid, and I think
Hopefully.
Cassian is
Hopefully.
probably going to make James happy. I think Cassian likely will.
that gets
take
me
you
happy.
back.
That makes my tummy. It makes it feel special when you say that.
and
When you say that it's going to make
Ahsoka
James happy. I love
maybe
that.
like this. Ahsoka may have this kind of
Rip.
this
Oh,
kind of shit going with it.
God.
yeah, I think Ahsoka's going to go hardcore weird, which could be amazing because it could be something completely
Oh,
different. But
God.
also, I feel like it could be just like Return to Oz
But
weird.
Is Ezra
Not in a
confirmed
good
for
way.
that? Is that a thing that's happening? Ezra? Like, is that a real
Yeah,
thing?
yeah.
it is.
I've
So
seen.
I don't know what's gonna happen with that because I don't know.
Yeah, I've seen
Two
stuff from
Jedi
it.
like that. I don't know.
It's gonna go Star Wars Rebels live action basically.
I could see some real bad like Force scenes going on because it's like the TV stuff.
I just hope he's like, whoa, excuse me, princess.
Is he gonna have the buzz cut like he had in the last season of Rebels, and it just looked like a blue cap
looked
he
like,
had on? It looked like a World of Warcraft like cap.
It was because they wanted to make it
It's
cheap.
so bad.
so
like what
they
the fuck was it?
gave
It's just
him-
blue.
They give him Freddie Mercury hair. Looks like Freddie Mercury. Like if they just give him the mustache, he'd be ready to fucking
Yeah,
rock.
what was that? I don't know. It's so bad.
Good call. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's have him have no hair and just be blue on the top of his head. Be great.
Yeah, I mean,
Easy to do. Rob, what's the justification for that?
I don't watch that cartoon, so I don't even know what you're talking about. Like,
well, no,
I've been thankfully
Rob,
saved by being let down by any of that stuff.
Johnny,
Like,
are you legitimately asking the question?
Yeah.
Because I
want to know. Yeah.
Listen, and I'll tell you.
Okay.
It costs money to animate hair, so if
Okay.
you get rid of it, now it's free.
There you go. Yeah. Easy to do.
And that's why they did it to Sabine as well. They weren't being fashion forward. It was just it was fashion cheap. Jonathan said kill Cad Bane. Gosh, I was so hyped and buying a figure. Now I'll have to think twice. Well, I mean, things die. I mean, in Star Wars, and it's so fun to
there's a chance. Hey, Rob, there's a chance to give somebody a new ship. Why don't we see Cad Bane's ship? Maybe, right? And there's
he took the train.
We couldn't even see Slave One.
Yeah,
He took the bus.
Oh,
And I
no,
want to see that cut. There's a cut scene with Cad Bane sitting on there, and that little Rhodian girl makes a raw, and he bullseyes her. Remember the Daredevil bullseye where he flicks the thing in the throat and kills a little kid?
Well, did you guys see how Cad Bane had like Larry David shoes? He's older, so he goes and walks in the mall first, and then he walks everywhere. Keeps his heart strong, so he can get shot.
So we could have got a whole episode of Cad Bane hitting on Mary Streberg, and we didn't. And I'm let down by that. Like,
they buy the same hat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm tired and I'm over this shit. So I think we should all go to bed and not with each other, but by ourselves. And then we'll wake up and forget this ever happened. No, I'm gonna wake up. I'm gonna watch it again in the morning, and I'm gonna see if maybe I was in a bad mood. Maybe it was it was late. I don't know. Maybe I'm having female troubles. I don't know. But when I get there, I'm gonna watch it again in the morning, and I'm gonna see if I could find something to salvage, for me. And
for me, salvage is the thought that Obi-Wan's coming up in a few months. That's the only positive I can think right now.
Yeah. If you're bummed, really, that is, I think, worth being excited for. And that's where I'd put my whole faith. But we'll be back on tomorrow afternoon, and we will go over any news that's out there, cover anything, and maybe share more thoughts. I don't know. I didn't have it in me to screenshot this episode. I just didn't care, just to be fucking honest. So if I didn't make you mad, if I didn't, that's happened one other time, but yeah. But anyways, but thanks to everybody who hung out with us, and everybody, all of you cats who are on the panel tonight, for staying up and talking about Star Wars with me. I do appreciate it, and it is fun even when it's disappointing. And if anybody else liked it, by no means am I telling you that you can't. We're just telling you what we thought, and you're, by all means, if you like it or you loved it, then I am happy for you. Truly, I am. If you had a good time. Now, if you're lying to yourself, you're a fucking weirdo, and you should get some professional help. But if you did like it, then I'm glad. So,
for the record, I am telling them they can't like it. That is my message. You can't like it. I said no.
James changed the rules. You can't
filled
like
with
it.
hate and anger. Guy that is just filled with spite.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he does look like Mr. Burns, doesn't he?
Sure.
Get it now.
Sure. There we go.
See the resemblance.
There we go. You guys don't like the show. Cool.
Hey, I was the only one of my friends who came out of Speed Racer loving that film. And I didn't care one minute that I was the only one who loved it. Like, I
love it.
I get why some people love it now, some people loved it then, but I get why my friends didn't like it. I was like, I'm gonna buy another ticket, come back tomorrow. Because I'm never gonna get to see a movie like this on the big screen ever again. I just know it. And I saw it in IMAX 3 times. But my bet is, as just person who's been in this game for a little bit, if they continue down this path, it's not going to be good for them. So my hope is that they learn.
Yeah, I could say that they aren't, but this branch of creators I hope they learned. The other shows are completely like a different thing. Thank
that's what I'm talking about. This branch
thank
of
God.
creators.
But the Favreau crew, you fucked up in my opinion. But
and there was some super highs. Episode 2, I would gladly watch 2, 5, and 6. You know, like put that on like that. I wish, I've been saying this for a while. These streaming services don't let you make like playlists and share them with your friends. Because this way I could have Jason make me a playlist of all the clones, and you just, you can share your playlist. Here's the Clone Wars. You can watch these, right? And get it. And so it'd be nice just within these services to save my own playlist of 2, 5, and 6, and then, Mando 1 and 2, 2, 5, and 6, and then whatever. And I'd be fine with that,
Right.
But props to the people who really kicked ass on this series, and everyone else, just Saturday school,
Yeah.
Saturday school.
Yeah, and I hope Boba Fett is scraping up Jennifer Beals' blood off the floor to make clones, because that's what I would do. Just gonna throw that out there.
There's an oral nuts, like there's the thing you could probably do with sound design. That scene where when they're walking, it's just you put the sound of crunching on bones. You know what I mean? Or like guts. Like you can. There's a
Disney Plus. Hey.
Yeah, whoop. He's. Yeah,
it's like Dexter's kill room in there. Okay,
did you notice that rabbit droid came back at the end? By the way,
no.
Did you just notice that? Yeah, it was in the last shot.
Yeah.
The one that deactivated
He was
itself
chasing.
back.
He was chasing.
All right.
He was
We gotta
chasing
go.
it.
But,
These Twix
Save
of
another
kids.
cliffhanger.
Quick. Twix of wabbits.
You guys are too much.
all right. Good night, everybody.
It's not about spaceships. It's not about spaceships.
Wow, the look on everybody's faces says it all.
Don't say anything yet because it's usually still going.
Should we just
Oh, the best